Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. This is Doc Kane coming to you straight from Kobe, Japan on Marketers Who Can't Market. Today is the very first Saturday Shortie on the podcast. Saturday Shortie. I'll tell you what that is in a second. What's the podcast about? The podcast is for you because you don't know anything, and neither do I, right? That's what we're doing here on this podcast. If you get stuck with marketing issues, or if you have all the answers, that's what we're here to find out. And today I have the very first, as I said, Saturday Shortie, which is going to be a shorter version of the podcast. Why? Because I'm tired and I did a lot of stuff today and I don't really have that much I want to talk about. I have something I want to talk about actually, but it doesn't really involve a lot of deliberation, if you will. You don't need my standard 15-minute spiel talking about this thing and then that thing and then that thing. It's basically one idea. And the idea is this. I have a page on my website, on the Nihon Hustle webpage, and I've mentioned it before. It's like I said, about 16,000 words. It's actually 14,000 I discovered today. Because I've trimmed it and trying to make Google happy and visitors happy. And it's a constantly evolving page. And it's probably the oldest page on the site of any real length. And it ranks about number one for most searches related to active duty side hustles. Because that's the original focus of the page. I designed it to appeal to service members, active duty service members who live here in Japan and who might be looking for extra work in Japan for themselves or for their families. And the page has matured over time and it's been changed a little bit, and the reasons being as I started to want to fine tune it. I noticed it rose fairly well in the ranking in the rankings, and it did very well, but nobody was really doing anything on the page, right? So it would rank really well for active duty side hustles, but people would surprisingly not even click on the link, even though it was ranked within the top 3 fairly quickly. Now it ranks normally around number 1, and I still have the same problem. The problem I think now, though, is a few months ago I started to want to target military spouse jobs instead of active duty side hustles because the search volume for military spouse jobs is greater and the number of spouses looking for extra work is also greater in general than active duty members looking for extra money on the side. They're quite busy as it is. But spouses do need to work, particularly when they're transferred with their service member, husband or wife, or if they're a spouse, of course, husband or wife, right? Or wife, or husband or husband. These things are possible today too, right? So I started to tweak it, and now the title, the metadata basically reads military spouse jobs, best military spouse jobs, I think, anywhere in the world, something like that. So if you're an active duty person looking for a side hustle, you might not click on it because of the title, right? If you arrive on the page and you're a military spouse, you might find that the content feels like it's more directed towards service members because all of the imagery on there, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2 shots, and all of the alt tags are geared towards military members. So I think I started to feel I'm presenting a confusing message to people who might be landing on the page or people who might be seeing it ranked in Google and are deciding whether to click or not. So I started to think about this very common practice that I employ, which is to ask why a million times. Like, why is this not working? Why is it ranking well? I literally have a page that ranks number 1 on Google, as I do for a few pages, and nothing happens as a result of that ranking. Nobody really clicks through. And I was looking at some of the data today, and I have something like, I think over the past 16 months, 1,400 impressions on this page, and only 18 clicks. which kind of sucks. It's kind of, I mean, it's 1.5% roughly, which isn't a miserable click-through rate, but I really think it should be higher. And so I'm working on trying to get it higher. So what I want to just mention to you today is when you have something that you think should be working, ask as many questions as you can about why it might not be working, right? So initially I started tweaking it towards military spouses, right? Oh, it's not working because I've not created the correct title. And maybe there's not enough military spouse mentions throughout the text. Da, 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 da. So I did that, and it doesn't rank for military spouses. It still ranks for friggin' active duty side hustles. So that didn't help that problem. What is the problem, right? Ask this famous Toyota mantra, which is ask why 5 times, right? So the plane crashed. Why did the plane crash? Well, because the wing cracked. Well, why did the wing crack? Because there was a screw that was loose and it caused the wing to shear off. Well, why is the screw loose? Well, because the screw is manufactured improperly, and that's why it happened. Bad metal. Okay, well, is it really bad metal? Maybe it's not really bad metal. Maybe it's the guy who bought the metal and he bought it at a cheap price from this vendor. Oh, the problem is really that vendor then, right? Well, maybe it's not that vendor. Maybe it's the guy who worked on the line that day at that supplier, and da-da-da-da-da. And that's why the plane crashed, right? It didn't crash just because the wing came off. So keep asking questions, right? Why does this effing thing not work? Is it the imagery? Is it the H1 or H2 tags? Is it what? You have to keep tweaking and tweaking and tweaking. So this stuff is a science and an art. There's definitely an art to the copy. When you get somebody on the page, can you get them to do what it is that you want? This page that I've created, frankly, is probably too long. I made it with the intent of kind of creating a skyscraper article, something of great length to draw Google's attention, and create good content that works. It's good, but it's probably way too long. And people who do end up on it are not. It's kind of like being in a grocery store with too much cereal, right? You don't know what to pick. The kids sure as hell don't know what to pick, right? It's all overwhelming. But anyway, that's it. So what are we at here? We're at 7.5 minutes. Not bad. So that's a Saturday Shortie. There'll probably be even shorter than this in the future. If I wasn't so tired, I'd know kind of exactly what I wanted to say. But there you have it. So ask why I decided to do a shorty today. I don't know. I'm going to bed. I'm too tired. Listen, I hope this has been helpful. Keep going at it. Have yourself a lovely night. Subscribe if you want, or maybe not today. I don't know. Can you help me with this page? Go visit the page, actually. Tell me what the hell you think. What's wrong with it? Probably by the time you listen to this, my wife and I are pretty much the only people listening to these now. And our numbers are pretty good, actually. our listen times are quite good. Maybe when you finally get around to listening to this, I will have solved the problem in a year or so. So we'll see what happens. That's it for today, though. So like, subscribe, ring the bell. Send me your questions at doc@nihonhustle.com. If you want to be on the show, you can also hit me up there as well. And we'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going running. Yay. So if you see us out on the road, wave to us if you're in Japan. Take it easy. We'll see you on Sunday. Later.